Shane van Gisbergen recently astonished the NASCAR world at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Few stories in NASCAR feel as unlikely or as compelling as the one centered on Shane van Gisbergen. SVG, an Australian supercar hero, arrived in America with big aspirations and a luggage full of curiosity. His road course debut in 2023 was nothing short of historic, as he stunned the racing world by winning in Chicago. But in the months that followed, reality struck hard. The NASCAR Cup Series is about more than just talent. It's about understanding ovals, navigating traffic, and flourishing in a culture that punishes the unfamiliar. Despite early difficulties, growing mistrust, and a steep learning curve, van Gisbergen has quietly chipped away at the problem. And this weekend in North Wilkesboro, something clicked. He not only won the pole in the All-Star Open, but he did so with style, speed, and surgical precision. It seemed like a breakthrough for a driver who had previously doubted himself on oval tracks, perhaps even a turning point. This is more than just a review of one race weekend. It's the narrative of a racer who defies his comfort zones, reinvents himself in real time, and dares to prove that passion and perseverance still matter. Whether you're a die-hard fan or simply enjoy a comeback, Shane van Gisbergen's ascension is a story worth following. The New Zealand native, who has struggled all season, has just grabbed pole position for the All-Star Open with an incredibly fantastic qualifying drive, leaving everyone wondering if SVG has finally figured out oval racing. Not long ago, racing experts were really wondering whether Shane van Gisbergen belonged on oval tracks. The three-time Supercars champion is having a terrible debut season, sitting in 35th place in the Cup Series rankings. Prior to this weekend, his best oval start was 17th at Talladega. But today, in North Wilkesboro, he outperformed everyone and demonstrated that he is not giving up on his NASCAR ambition. "I think we finally got all of the things right," van Gisbergen said after finishing first in 88.685 seconds. "Yeah, I think we finally got all things right. Qualifying speed a weakness. My lap was pretty good, and then, coming in was good. Pit stop guys were insane, so really good for them, and, thanks to WeatherTech. This wasn't just regular qualifying session, it was All-Star Weekend, and the system is entirely different and punishing. Drivers were required to complete one fast lap, then enter pit road for a necessary 4-tire stop, and then complete another flying lap. The overall time determines who starts where, and any error can ruin your prospects." SVG overcame this difficult challenge with the skill and ferocity that have made him a legend in Australian supercars. Much of his advantage came from braking late into pit road, a skill he honed over years of road course racing. But it was his Trackhouse pit crew that sealed the deal with a lightning-quick tire change that left the entire team ecstatic in the pit box. When that moment came up on the screen, you could see the raw emotion. After weeks of despair and attempting to adjust to oval racing, this moment of triumph made the entire crew jump for excitement. This was more than just the pole position. This proved that SVG belonged in NASCAR's top series. "We're up front tomorrow. I've never started at the front for an oval, so I don't know what to do there," van Gisbergen honestly admitted. "To learn the rules and see how we go." Fans adore SVG precisely because of his real humility. Despite winning 48 pole positions in his Australian supercar career, he's like a student on NASCAR ovals. Carson Hocevar started with SVG on the first row, with Noah Gragson, Michael McDowell, and Ryan Preece filling out the top 5. The stakes could hardly be higher. Only the top 2 finishers will progress to the main All-Star race, along with one additional driver chosen by fan vote. Starting from the pole provides you a significant advantage at North Wilkesboro, where track position is vital. What makes this tale even more exciting is that SVG isn't the only New Zealand driver making headlines this weekend. His fellow Kiwi, Scott McLaughlin, was the fastest driver on Fast Friday at the Indianapolis 500 practice, with a lap of 233.954 miles per hour. On the same weekend, 2 drivers from the same little country are making huge impacts in American racing. Is this the beginning of a Kiwi takeover? The final time onto the front stretch, he comes to the checkered flag. He's won the very first street race in NASCAR. Thank you guys. SVG's success in NASCAR has made headlines around the world. After shockingly winning his first NASCAR race in Chicago in 2023, becoming the first driver to do so since 1963, van Gisbergen has worked relentlessly to show his worth in America's premier racing series. But the route has not been easy. SVG's transition from Australian road racing to NASCAR's largely oval schedule has been especially challenging. Being 35th in points implies that he is still figuring things out. The most difficult part has been adjusting to the peculiar aerodynamics of racing in traffic on ovals, which differ significantly from supercars. Trackhouse Racing owner Justin Marks took a huge gamble by bringing SVG to NASCAR full-time. This pole position marks SVG's first major success on ovals, where he has struggled the most. Marks has been extremely patient, and this qualifying result indicates that his confidence is being rewarded. The qualifying session demonstrated exactly why SVG is so unique. His lap was just right, his pit road entry was smooth yet aggressive, and his pit crew was lightning fast. This outstanding collaboration explains why Marks wanted SVG to join Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez at Trackhouse Racing. NASCAR has been a difficult test, but that is precisely why fans admire SVG. He gave up his status as an Australian superstar to compete in NASCAR. Being willing to try something extremely tough, even if it means failing, has garnered him legions of supporters. SVG performed exactly as expected when the All-Star Open went green on Sunday. He got the whole shot into turn 1 and quickly built a lead. He dominated the opening half of the race, leading the first 54 laps and appearing entirely relaxed. "I was out front like driving like a grandma. It felt like it was easy," Van Gisbergen said after the race. "But still, I felt like the tires were going to go off at the halfway mark." SVG had an excellent lead of 3.5 seconds. Then the competition caution flew, and strategy became critical. Van Gisbergen and his crew chose to use 4 fresh tires, while other drivers behind him gambled on only 2. That decision cost SVG his track position, dropping him from 1st to 6th at the restart. Carson Hocevar was one of 5 drivers that took 2 tires and assumed the lead. "Once I was back there, no grip, and I put myself in some bad spots too," Van Gisbergen explained. Despite his tire advantage, SVG was unable to regain the ground he had lost. When the second caution flew with 23 laps remaining, Van Gisbergen resumed among the top 5, but quickly faded. Carson Hocevar went on to win the All-Star Open, while John Hunter Nemechek finished second. Noah Gragson won the fan vote and secured the last berth. Van Gisbergen finished 13th, failing to advance to the main event. "Yeah, I don't know whether to smile or cry," Van Gisbergen said after the race. "It's been a dismal year for us, but you know, I feel like we're getting better every week, and this shows that. It was awesome to lead some laps." Even if he did not transfer, this weekend marks a significant step forward for SVG. Leading 54 laps from the pole demonstrates that he is finally figuring out oval racing. The speed was there, the confidence was present, and the team execution was practically flawless. One thing is certain, Shane Van Gisbergen just made a massive statement at North Wilkesboro Speedway. From laboring in the rear of the pack to leading from the pole, he's proving that his NASCAR career is far from ended. In fact, it might only be getting started. What were your thoughts on SVG's remarkable pole run? Share your predictions in the comments. Is Shane Van Gisbergen finally prepared to dominate on ovals?